Hello everybody, SPUD's here. You may wonder why I'm at the bottom of the screen.
Because our special guest tonight is a little Boo Bear.
She's gonna take a nap. Hope you're having a buoyant day so far, and I hope to make you float even higher now after this video. Today we're gonna be going over Cloaking Fields, a resource storage exploit, Draba's new APS test, and FTD Total War kind of game, and the greatest of great news. Actually, great as in big, but not great as in, like, good. I mean, depending on how you think about it, the From the Depths release date has been pushed back from September 26th to November 7th. Now, I was kind of disappointed myself, only because September is my birthday month. But it also means that From the Depths will get some additional polish, which is probably much needed before the game's full release. Let's hope it's worth the wait. Anyway, right into Cloaking Fields. You don't see me. So somebody, I think on FTD official Discord, was talking about cloaking technology. I can't remember who. I'm so sorry if it was you. Please tell me. I want to credit you with this. Somebody was talking about cloaking technology and suggesting, what about like a cloaking field? And it got me thinking about camouflage blocks. And I'll come back to the cloaking field in a second, because I was thinking about camouflage blocks. Like, what if you had like deodorant boat, and you had, I know this is going to sound extremely like computer intensive, like this will never work in a game. You had boat, and then you had one layer of camouflage block, and it like changed color to like its environment or something. Like it looked like its environment. But then say you had like, I don't know, a more expensive camouflage block, or you have like another layer on the other end of the ship. So if you're seeing first end through one camouflage block and the other end also has a camouflage block, it would just go completely invisible and just not be there. Keep that in mind. But like going to just instead having a cloaking field, like a central generator that would cloak your entire vehicle. The idea that this user, I'm so sorry, I don't remember who it was or even where exactly I read this information, but they had suggested, what about it completely eliminating your visual signature? You go invisible. Maybe to the player you see like a little blur, but you're completely invisible to visual detection, but you are very IR hot. Like infrared detection lights you up. You are just lit up by infrared like crazy. I love that idea. I love that idea. We have such amazing, crazy, wacky technology in front of us. We have docking stations and particle cannons and lasers. Why don't we have something like that? That'd be insane. Cloaking fields. Why am I wearing headphones? And hey, while we're at it, suggesting things, why don't we have like sub-vehicle launchers? Like a docking station that can just shoot out the sub-vehicle at speed or something like that. Just assisted takeoff, some sort of assisted launch system so you don't crash into your own ship trying to, like, you know, because the AI kind of, when it's turned on, it's undocked, it just immediately, I don't even do it on this side, it just goes up and just tries to gain altitude for aircraft. So, I mean, it would just be useful to have like an assisted takeoff, just shoot it out of the dock real fast. Maybe make docking stations currently do that. Maybe what I would think is make a smaller docking station that doesn't really have a whole lot of features, can't go as far, etc., but it's like smaller and cheaper, you know, because I like 1 meter docking stations, because honestly the 4 meter ones are really hard to stick somewhere, and it seems weird having a long docking station instead of like a flat area docking station, like a docking pad to get on. It's just weird to me to have like a stick, because you know, helipads, you have to build like a mount for them to have the docking station in there. Anyway, I just think it'd be cool to have some sort of ejection system, like a vehicle ejector on a docking pad. I don't know, that the idea developed as I was talking about it, so it's kind of cool. What do you guys think about that? Really, what do you think? What do you think about that, Nick? Hey guys, I need to show you something. Kinda, I don't know, I thought it was like a problem in the beginning. In the beginning, there was only darkness. I thought it was a problem in the beginning of the game they'll patch it out. Oh yeah, it's not gonna be a problem forever. Don't worry about it. It's not a feature or anything. It's just a bug, right? Notice how like every single material storage bit above here, right? For every cubic meter involved in these material storage blocks, every cubic meter of these holds the same amount of resources. I currently have it set to, I think, 300, maybe 500. If I go to my configuration, it is currently a 2,000 resource storage per volume. So if we get 1 meter of resource storage, I don't think it is 2,000 because I think the neater default is 500. It's just not saying it properly. Yeah, because if I put 1 meter down, it's 500, right? It only makes sense that a volume of 3 by 3 by 6 times 500 is 27,000 resource storage units, right? Right. Okay, you might wonder why I built it in such a weird way. Well, it's the size and shape of a cargo container. The cargo container, as you can see, has a material storage of 54,000. Yeah, so if I put it here, we don't get to 54,000 because the double of 27,000 is 54,000. No, it's 27,000 plus 54,000. Because each of these material storage containers stores twice the amount of materials as every other material storage block in the game. Maybe it's to encourage the use of bigger components that would be more efficient, but I don't know, seems kind of unfair. If we look at the weight of this, 24, 30, math, have to do some math on that. Let's see, whatever. Dumb. Alright, so here's Draba's APS Overhaul. I'm going to link it in the description so you can read it yourself, but it's, as you can see, quite a lot. I tried going over it, but it took me an hour each time I tried to record it. I'm going to let you guys read through it. A lot of people have been asking me, what's my take on this? I think it's great. I absolutely think it's a step in the right direction. I think a lot of people have been upset over, it's going to break a lot of things. Any game update in any game is going to break things. It's going to make some things that are strong either stronger or weaker. Going to make something that's weak either stronger or weaker. Some things that are really weak can rise up to the top of the meta. Some things that are at the top can sometimes fall to the bottom. Sometimes they get a nice balance, which I think is the purpose of this update, is to bring balance to the force. Yes, overall, as you can see in the overview, and I'm going to just explain what I've kind of gone through and seen here. Small guns are going to be useful. Big guns are going to still be very, very useful, but everything is going to be specialized. Small guns, big guns, every type of shell, everything is going to have a different use because they all have their pros and cons, and after this update, well, it will go live. At least I hope it does. When this update goes live, everything's just going to be more specialized, and more generalist vehicles are going to be kind of in a lacking. But APS is supposed to be a generalist weapon type, although that is in itself because APS is flexible. It can do a whole lot of things, but it's not like a cram that can just get super, super big and powerful for like slow, unmoving targets, or lasers that's an instant hit on the target, or packs which can just go through anything, or missiles which just have stupid range, guide themselves, and you don't even need to be there, and they just blow everything up. Everything has their uses. Everything has its weaknesses. So I think this is a good thing overall. If you want me to skim through it, I'm not going to. Don't make me do this. Look how long this is. Look how many different intricate block connections we'd have to be going through. Again, I tried recording this. It took me an hour the first time to just get down to like kinetic energy. I was just explaining everything. I'm like, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Wait, goddamn, I'm not doing it, but everything's gonna be good. Keep calm, carry on, everything's gonna be good. Everything's gonna be alright, and the game's gonna be so much more fun. this update isn't gonna make gun nerf, gun buff. No, any gun you make is gonna be useful. Period. Any gun you make is gonna do something and it's gonna be fun. Period. Let's look forward to it. If you haven't played the APS test yet, go to the APS demo branch. Let me see, there's probably a code somewhere here where you can access it. I'll just put it in the description of the video. But also, go to the forum post. I'll leave the link in the description as well. Leave your feedback for the update on the forum post. Don't put it in my comment section, although I love hearing from you guys. You warm my heart of every time I get a comment from you. I put the little heart icon and everything. I love it. But the devs, the Drabas, the Drebs need to hear you too. They need to hear you on the forum. Vote on this. You know, some people think it's awesome. I think it's epic. Some people think it's okay. It's pretty good. Some people think bad. Friggin' Draba had it again. I like how that's an option. It's funny, but I really think there's kind of an anti-Draba culture going around from the depths that needs to stop, because he's a developer of the game. And I know, as somebody who's very critical of all the things that happen from the depths, and for good reason, you can be critical of what somebody's doing and their work, and you can, you know, show them, hey, maybe you need to do this, or this, I don't like this, it's not satisfactory. In my opinion, oh, I'd like this done over this. But wait until they're done with their work. Don't say, oh, whatever he's gonna do is gonna be bad, because that's not fair, you know? Go play the APS test. Go read the forum post at least. Get a visual of what it's gonna be like in your head. Yes, your ships might not perform, because the entire game is changing. They might not perform as well as they do now, but everything is gonna be fun. Trust me, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. We just gotta root for it. We just gotta be happy. It's a step in the right direction. Let's hope it's executed the right way. And like he says here, you know, existing things keep working, just won't be optimal. Nothing is final and nothing is decided. So we'll go through the tests, we'll see if it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. We'll, you know, I say we, I'm not a dev, but you know, they'll probably back away. There will be changes. Things won't be like a one-punch, one-step solution to every problem. Everything is gonna be strategic. You need to manage your resources and your shells, because you're gonna get bodied if you just go full generalist. If you just say, we'll just put a shell that beats everything. Nah, because the shell's not gonna beat everything, you know? You know, sometimes you need to get through shields. Sometimes you need to get through armor. Sometimes you're trying to get through shields and armor, but your guns are so big and powerful and slow that you get bodied by swarmers, you know? But, you know, that's just a SPUD take. And also, by the way, you know, shout out to Septic Death for the awesome t-shirt. Hi, guys. SPUD comes here. So in the latest patch, I just thought, you know, maybe with these cool little, the version numbers being all blankety blank, just version, and then, you know, I sort of like that. I thought it was just, oh, cool, they just made the spacing a little bigger, but, you know, they deleted the ugly little block count on the side here, because it's just clutter. It's just screen clutter. They should just have the names right here and maybe like a picture next to each of them or something like that, or maybe just an icon showing that it's an aircraft or like the type of vehicle, you know, whatever. Just choose a little icon for each thing. But, you know, I didn't realize that after saving some of these, you know, designs, some of these blueprints, blow-away printes, that they have these block counts, and they put the material cost in here as well, making it even more disgusting. You know, I click my Gerstern big flex over here, and I already see the material cost right here. Why do I need the material cost over here? Why don't you just move all of this information over to the side panel here? That'd be a lot better. Just do that, you know, so that doesn't clutter up the screen, so you can see all your damn designs, and maybe put a little icon. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, this has been Spud Cubs with another rant. Say hi, Troll.
Hi.
Have a bright day.
Hey guys, looks like we have a little bit of a suggestion from Reddit user Joey101937. Now, I really like this suggestion. We haven't really heard it before, but it's very interesting. If you've ever played Total War, any of the Total War games, this really kind of goes in line with Total War. From the Depths kind of has a lot of gameplay elements very similar to Total War. All of the real-time strategy elements in battle kind of like are like Total War, because in Total War you have this big map in the campaign. You can kind of explore And when you get into a battle, right, you engage with an enemy, you're kind of locked, you have to fight that enemy, right, within that turn. It's a turn-based, that's the big thing. When you fight, you kind of set up your forces, you know, you're the general, or, you know, you're that military. You set up your forces in your lines how you want them. You place them, so does the enemy. You place them, it's kind of like a chess before the match even starts, you know. Your placement is already part of your strategy. And then you fight in real time. But like I said, it's turn-based. The campaign is turn-based. The fights are real time. The difference between From the Depths and Total War is From the Depths obviously is real-time strategy through and through. But then you have those like locked-in battles that happen. So it kind of is like, it's kind of like an identity problem with FTD. But anyway, the suggestion is basically have the option at least to have turn-based strategy in From the Depths, as in the campaign. Joey's in his post recommending another map, but I'd say you can do it in Neater, because you can even use the terrain squares as like coordinate spots to move, like, oh yeah, one turn slowest unit can only move one coordinate spot, or whatnot. But this would be great. The reason I think this would be great for everyone, and just having it in, regardless of game balance, you don't need to balance this, because it's just a derivative of normal FTD. But having this option, I think a lot of players would absolutely enjoy this. I think I might enjoy it even more than how FTD is currently. We'll get into the details, but the reason why it's so great, in my opinion, is because FTD is kind of a slow game. And it takes a while, and some people like to just chill out, and they don't like getting attacked within an hour. Like, it's really weird. Turn-based allows you to kind of set your pace. You know, if you don't know what I mean, let's put into example the highest end exaggeration of real-time strategy games, like Korean StarCraft competitions. You know, it's just like the guys with the fastest hands on their keyboards with the most micro basically get the job done. You know, you just micro and macro your way to the top. You just all over the place. You keyboard seizure is what you do. And if you're not as fast as the guy on the other end of the arena, you're going to fall behind in the game. With a real-time strategy, it's all about keeping up with the game. It's all about pace. It's all about making quick decisions that are good decisions. Making quick decisions, good decisions under pressure is what it is. A turn-based strategy is more relaxed, it's more casual, you set the pace because you decide when the turn ends. It's much more relaxed, much more, we'll just play some From the Depths, it's alright, we'll just take a couple turns, we'll pick it up later, we'll play a multiplayer game, whatever. I think turn-based strategy for From the Depths would also make it a lot more multiplayer friendly for like PvP campaigns, because not everything has to be in play all at once. But on that note, one problem with turn-based strategy in From the Depths would be, how do you determine the turn length if you're just building? Or like, would there be a time limit at all? Would building just be not counted? And I think that would emphasize the little button in the escape menu, how you're supposed to just switch between campaign and designer constantly. But again, how would you incorporate designing into a turn-based strategy part of FTD? Anyway, I think it'd be great. Let's get really into it, because he has some very interesting bits. He's put a lot of work into this proposal here. He has some imagery. So like I was saying with Total War, he's saying that campaign will be split into two distinct views. That's the map view for the turn-based strategy, I would guess, and he suggests putting icons for individual vehicles. You can already do that in From the Depths, actually, the water mode at your service. There are 4 different icons you can have for individual units in From the Depths, and it's the boat, the air unit, the tank, and the all-terrain vehicle. And you just click them on the map. But it'd be cool if you can, like all the new icons in the AI menu, if you could just set those customly to any vehicle you want, so that if you go in the load menu, it's easier to find your units as well, instead of the block count and material cost on each unit being listed in the load menu. That just doesn't need to be there. But I mean, icons would be great. The reason I say those bits of information don't need to be there is because you click on the vehicle you want to spawn and it already shows you the material cost right there. So it's like, just don't clog the user interface. Anyway, we're in this article. Let's get in this. The view is turn-based, where fleets can move a certain distance etc. I don't want to read the entire thing again. Long posts, but reiterating, you have the two views. You have turn-based, and then in battle you have it real time. Now let me switch over to, it was over here, this one. This is Joey's proposed little strategy map. It's kind of a way for, a few factions to kind of fight on one continent, a few factions to fight on another continent, and then when they get big enough, they have an all-out, war across the oceans here. I think that's a wonderful little idea here, but I think you could also just do it on Neater or any map. I think you can do it on any map. And there should just be an option. And this is showing a little bit of a tooltip. He was saying an icon for each unit on the map. I guess it was part of when I had suggested the Intel images video to mouse over a unit and it would give the Intel picture of it. This is a little, I think, simpler and better. Really, you have your unit here, right, I believe, and you have your faction right down here. Here's your little icon for it. Here's your information for it. Here's your name for it. Simple. And then you can just delete the unit right there. I love how he added the little delete button, because it's this is the whole user interface. It just makes sense right here. Manage your unit from the actual unit, not from a menu on the top. It makes sense to me. I don't know. This is really intuitive. That'd be great for From the Depths. And he explains here, just his setup for the little example play thing. This is supposed to be an HQ, this little castle, and you have the forces here. If you look at historical accounts of battles of war, they have, or just any representation of infantry or cavalry in any sort of battle setting. If you're explaining it, you use little icons. So, oh, this is an infantry troop. Oh, this is a cavalry troop. Oh, this is an artillery troop. You denote things with little icons, and this is kind of what it's showing you. And I guess it has the little icons up here. You can see the faction pretty clearly. It's not huge. It's not, the entire icon isn't the faction, but you can see from the color, from the easily identifiable flags, what faction it is. Just a side note, if the faction flag has a lot of intricate little designs and colors and everything, how do you know what it is? So, very plain flags like this one, very easy to see from afar. The American flag, notice it from afar pretty well, right? The Union Jack, you notice that from afar pretty well. A lot of flags. I could spot, I thought that was the Philippines. Pronunciation with me is something weird. The Philippines, I thought it was the Philippines flag for a little bit, because as the triangle, but a lot of flags are like that. Anyway, point being, this is a great idea by Joey. Lots of work has been put into this. Please check this out. Link in the description for this. This is amazing. This is please at least allow us to play the game. At least give us an option, because I think this is one of those things that would just work with FTD. It's something that FTD would just work with, Let me read in here, because I actually didn't notice these little extra bits here. I want to get to them. I want to really read them in depth with you guys. Diplomacy, because diplomacy and then blueprint classification are pretty specific. I originally intended this to be a multiplayer-focused campaign with AI present but secondary. With that said, I believe this will work even in single player. Okay, so he wants it to be like Civilization or like Total War, like an actual real-time, turn-based strategy game where there's a lot of diplomacy. All of the actual skill is in the strategy, so it doesn't matter if you're faster than the enemy player. You play it right. You play it diplomatically. You play it military. You play by trading. It'd be a more dynamic game with a lot of different options. Oh God, I want it. I want this to happen. Blueprint classification. Originally, the way I was going to do units was that the player faction. The player faction would have a roster of units that could be constructed via ports. To add a unit to the roster, the player would use a graphic user interface to add their own ship stats into the game, i.e. fill out the name, resource cost, max speed. Okay, that's automatic. Okay, roll and the roll anti-surface all-rounders. Okay, so the RTS menu already does that, which is really great. So it's built into the game. It's something that's player would use a graphic user interface to add their own ship stats into the game. So this is in the game. It just needs to be improved upon. This is already in the game. We just need turn-based. All of these changes are ready. Joey, they're ready for you. Take it. Take your prize, Joey. All right, let's finish this. I'm actually really excited about this. I really like this change. The APS updates. Who cares about Draba APS update? We're up on the turn-based strategy, boys. Okay. It would create a silhouette matching that description, possibly giving the player options if there are multiple available, like in a fleet. Oh, yes! Click on the fleet in the map viewer. Options spread out. Yes! I hate the little, like, oh yeah, you know, the whole user interface is found in the little corner of the screen. No, buddy, give me, like, interactivity with my menus, you know, let me click on the fleet. All right, the fleet's there. All right, I clicked on the fleet. I can see all the ship's health. I can see the roster right there. It's not in the top left in the corner of the screen. You know, if you guys study drama theater at all, you guys know. Top left, weakest part of your vision for attention. Why would you put it there? I don't know. Put it in the middle of the screen where the unit is. You know, if I want to see the unit's health, I gotta put it next to the unit. Don't put it in a little thing with a percentage sign there. You know, put a bar. Because human beings are computers. I mean, you know, we might be physicists or, you know, engineers or something, but you know, some human beings are just human beings. You know, we gotta read. We gotta be visual. Some people are visual learners. Some people like to hear some things. You know, you gotta have multiple sensory stimulus to make the player know, hey, that's the user interface for that unit. It's right over there. It tells me all that information instead of having to go, hey guys, what the fuck does this say? I don't fucking know. This game. But no, seriously, I think a lot of these suggestions, I'm not even so focused on the turn-based aspect of this, but you go over here. Look how much work is put into this. Look how high definition this is. Look at this. This is amazing. If the From the Depths map looked like this with like elevation up here instead of it just being like a 3D representation of the map, because it's literally just a 3D representation of the actual terrain map. There's lighting involved on the map. There are waves created on the map. It looks kind of gross, honestly, to me. I know it's supposed to look like you literally just zoomed out and you can see the entire thing, but it's not done in like a way that's satisfyingly immersive, if that makes sense. It doesn't like really show you like, hey, this is the whole world. It's just this weird square. I don't know, maybe I'm not trying to be negative and criticizing how the map was made, but it's like, I'm just saying it could be cleaner, you know. It could look concise like this. This is clean. I like this. The colors are very cleanly put, you know. It's like high contrast to say. You can see where the forces are very clearly. You don't have to really question it. If there was a strategic map that looked like this is a strategic map, instead of just layering over user interface onto a map, dude, this would be amazing. This would actually, like, it'd be glorious. Glorious. Actually, you know, we have the DEF CON style map in FTD, and I actually really prefer the DEF CON style map that we have. But it's like when you zoom out enough, it just shows the fleet icons, and it kind of breaks it up a little bit. I don't know. When you zoom out enough, it kind of turns into a different style map, and it's not the same. When you zoom in, like during a battle, when I say DEF CON style, the game DEF CON, a great game. It's very simple, very like just it's like vector drawing, vector graphics. You know, it's just little lines is all, but it's quite simple, quite amazing actually. If you've never played DEF CON, go play DEF CON. Go play DEF CON. But anyway, I just wanted to bring some more attention to this post because, wow, hoo-wee, look at this. Anyway, guys, it's the SPUD. Have a boy day. Hey guys, talking about turn-based strategy, I want to kind of flip the coin a little bit and start talking about real-time strategy. So this weekend, Ascendancy Roma, a Discord user on FTD Official, sent me something very interesting. I'll read it off for you. Real-time strategy from the depths. Player builds a series of base building structures, headquarters, which you upgrade your unit capacity, invest character points here. The production facility, you take blueprints and you upgrade them, you build them. Power facility, logistics, handling, and resource extraction that powers your ships and buildings. And defenses, which defend you. Combat is done in a traditional RTS view, but the player can assume direct control of an avatar and directly control the systems of a warship. This is a limited time ability that's based on a cooldown that can be used as a powerful tool to change the tide of a battle. For example, a player controlling the weapons of a ship can directly target weak points, detection or turret tops, that the AI may not immediately target. Now, it's not explicitly said in Roma's message what kind of RTS view that would be, but I would imagine that's something like some sort of isometric view, you know, some sort of bird's eye top-down view. But here, let me shoot you guys over onto these images that Roma has sent me. Quite a lot of work has been put into them. I mean, really, look at this. So first off, I want to really point out some great things about this image, but I want to point out that a lot of it is already in the game, in that From the Depths has a lot of these user interface aspects, in that, you know, you have your unit selected, you have the waypoint of where it's going, but you know, there are some things like up here you have, I guess this would be the unit list, which is already in game, although I would say it's nice having the unit list up here when you're zoomed in at this level, but if you're on the map view and you have multiple fleets, if you have multiple fleets in play or in your vision, I mean to say, like, if you're in the map view and there are multiple fleets in here, you can't have the unit list at the top like that. It's not gonna work. Are these actual terms passive and active user interface? Like, what I mean is passive user interface in being just like something that's there on the screen in like a really passive way. It's just giving you information. You don't have to do anything to enable it. It's just right up there giving you that information. You didn't ask for it. You didn't enable it. It's just there. Active being, you know, you have to click something, you have to access a menu, maybe you moused over something. I think when you have fleet information, when you have things like health bars or resource values, it should be active. And not only saying you have to click on it and, you know, it being there only when you click on it, I'm saying have it attached to that unit. Have the fleet information attached to that unit. Have a health bar for the whole fleet. Have any notifications of any ship problems, you know, in that little information box, but make it attached to the fleet on the map. As in, you mouse over a fleet, you get that nice little information box. What if you clicked on that fleet and then you got all of the order cards? You can like, there's buttons like, say, patrol to here or attack to here, or things like that. You know, like a traditional real-time strategy game. A lot more command cards, but have them attached to the units. Because most of the commands in From the Depths really are just right-clicking and left-clicking, different things on the user interface. You don't really need to do anything too complicated. So if you make it all visual, it's all nice and visual. Talking about visuals, health bars, resource bars, and ammo bars, and the like. Visual information sometimes in From the Depths is represented in a weird way, and I'd like to bring it up while we're looking at this real-time strategy menu. As you can see, we have this nice selected unit interface on the side, which shows a little portrait of our unit. It'd be cool if it had like a two-dimensional kind of cutout, maybe showed where damage is on the ship, just in a two-dimensional representation. You know, you don't have to show us the whole model. Of course, that'd be extremely computer intensive, but I would think somewhere on here, maybe on this little red line above, it would be a health bar filling out here. And that would be great, because health bars in From the Depths and resource bars are a little weird. They kind of just jut up. It's just a vertical bar graph, and they get bigger or smaller based on how much resources or how much health, etc. you can hold in a maximum. So you're not really able to grasp the percentages too well, because every bar is different, and they don't have the percentages listed. Percentages are much easier to read, especially in a game where you're watching how much damage you're taking, and you're watching bigger and smaller designs, which vary in health and blocks greatly. You know, just clear that up. I should be specific to not sound like an idiot. Clear up certain visual aspects of the user interface, like making health bars thicker so they're easier to see, or putting the information directly on fleets. As well, some information that's represented visually should be represented as text, and some text information should be represented visually. You can see this in the user interface at the bottom of the screen. Sometimes it's just cluttered with numbers, especially when you build really big ships. Some things especially should just be percentages, and things like resource bars maybe shouldn't be in the game if they're going to be, you know, they can scale really infinitely. Just, you know, give us the flat number. You know, some visual information doesn't need to be there. You know, you don't need everything in the game. Anyway, going to the next image really quick here. This is what intrigues me so much. The tech tree, right? In any game like even Subnautica, right? You have a tech tree. You need certain resources to get certain units or certain tools to get, you know, other buildings to create other tools to get higher on the tech tree, to get a better tier, right? And I think all of this, the turn-based strategy suggestions, the real-time strategy suggestions, the wanting restrictions, the wanting a tech tree, some sort of progression system, is from the depths community at large, not just Ascendancy Roma. It's from the depths community at large, I think, craving more structure to their game, craving something to do other than the designer mode, craving something that's more like, I've built this amazing battleship, what do I do with it? I need to use it somehow. What's the point of this, you know? What's the point of being really good at a game if there's no game to play? I think this is the community at large saying, hey, look, the game is perfect for doing all of these things. You can even do it on the map we have now. Just incorporate the ability to do turn-based strategy or real-time strategy like this, or keep the sandbox strategy we currently have, which is a really weird way to play the game with how battle blockades are. If I were to describe how From the Depths campaign is played right now, it's a turn-based strategy played like a real-time strategy. But gosh, you know, look at this. This is work. Work has been done to make this image, right? We have this production tab. We have this little tech building right here that looks almost like the Command and Conquer shipyards. It looks beautiful, honestly. And being able to produce ships from this is glorious. Let's say you're using the RTS build mode, which is already in the game. I did a video on it, right? Let's say you add a unit to this build mode. You have to add a unit to the build mode to put it into the production, right? Let's say you put it as a ship, right? Only ships can be built from your shipyards. Let's say you designate this constructible as your shipyard, right? That is your shipyard. You can designate a constructible as an HQ. That's your HQ. So this shipyard can only produce this. Your HQ functions as your HQ. And whatever you've built on it just adds to its ability to do its job. This is amazing. This is amazing. One thing I want to say, though, is I think this could be achieved naturally in the sandbox campaign by, I'm gonna push it again, it's removing ammo regen, because it would sort of force a little more specialization to occur. And I mean, if you think about it, you can construct anything from anything, because anything can have construction tentacles, but a shipyard's a very specialized building to create ships, is all I'm saying. Apart from that, the user interface is great. I love the little active user interface at the top where it's showing unit production. You know, we're here, we're looking at our base, this is what we're doing right now. It's showing us units are being produced at this shipyard. We clicked on it. The only thing I would like opposed to this, maybe move this unit production either, like I was saying, onto the actual production tab, or maybe, you know, have a section that's always for unit production. You know, maybe just cut off a section of the top of the screen and just make that all user interface, because you don't need the entire resolution of the game to be purely game and then make the user interface transparent around it. I know you want it to be immersive, but it's like you can just press F9 if you want to be completely immersive. Otherwise, I suggested something to Hikari a long time ago, long time ago, and it's that make the user interface a bit like the Warframe user interface, or, I mean, other games have done this too, but Warframe is a game that comes to mind because a lot of people have played Warframe, and it's something that's very noticeable when you play Warframe. Or it's not noticeable, which is what makes it very effective as a user interface. Notice how, if you've ever played Warframe, go in game, with your Warframe, or just stay in your Lisette, your little lander ship, press escape. Press the escape menu. You know, just the main menu. Your Warframe character opens a little ARM hologram menu in the game. It's in the game. It's physically in the game. And when you scroll through your menu, it's physically lighting up in the game. It physically lights up the environment around you when you access your menu. Same thing in Dead Space. In Dead Space, all of the user interface is in the screen. It is the screen. I know you can't really do this with From the Depths because you can't ensure all players place the right blocks to do that and see it like first person. But you can definitely do this where you have production tabs placed or tagged onto these buildings. Like let's say you have the selection box on here and you have this unit production queue always in a little hidden box on the side here, or not hidden, but a little transparent box on the side here, right? You click the box and the whole production tab comes up. You can cancel parts of the queue, you can add to the queue, you can replace things in the queue, you can destroy the building, you can tell the building to move. You know, the whole command card would be up there. You just click your unit and then the command card pops up. Maybe like StarCraft where I think this is what this is supposed to be on the bottom here. I think this is supposed to be the command cards on the bottom. It's not labeled for me to realize. Maybe Roma had mentioned it in the messages and I didn't catch it. But I love this idea. One thing I want to mention before we go to the next image really quick is that circle out in the corner there. I know it looks really nice for possibly a mini map, right? I think that's what it might be, a mini map. But I want there to be a circle, maybe in the bottom right corner of the screen, where it shows you're in normal view, right? You're in normal view, free look view. It says tab. It lights up the tab. It has a tab icon. It says tab there, so it shows you can cycle through your different free looks that are attached to your Rambot character. And then it has like other options on it, like two different other buttons below it where you have M and E. And then it either rotates or just lights up another one of the letters when you switch to it. Like let's say for instance you press M, the icon next to the letters changes from like the free look icon or like an eye or whatever into a small map icon. So you know, oh, I'm on the map. Oh, and I can click this if I need to do something, more map options or something like that. You know, more user interface options. You don't have to have everything on the user interface on the screen at one time. You can make submenus. You can click on things, make active and passive user interface, because currently in From the Depths, everything is passive user interface. Everything is just on the screen at any given time, and really the only active user interface is mousing over things in game. Mousing over things in the map, mousing over things, your cursor over a cannon. I mean, you can press Q and everything, but then that's kind of going into actually interacting with the game at that point, interacting with the environment. We're talking about the user interface in front of your screen at any point in the game. Anyway, going on to the last image, I didn't expect to be talking about this for so long, but it is a very good idea, and you know, I can appreciate how much work Ascendancy Roma has put into this. But wow. So like I was saying, submenus, diplomacy, fleet management, these should be the things that are on your screen. Submenus like this, instead of them being hidden in the main menu somewhere in some hotkey. I think the problem is the developers are trying to make everything able to be like accessed right then and there at any given time. So everything's on a hotkey. Every single thing is on a hotkey. And then everything's on the screen as much as possible at any given time. Instead of it being closed off in a menu where you can just access it where it's what is the word? Where it makes sense. It's relevant. It's relevant where it's relevant. Put user interface aspects in positions of the game where they're relevant, such as fleet management and diplomacy when you open the entire game. One thing I was thinking of as well is, why have Fog of War on Neater? Open the entire map, but make it like this, like a real-time strategy type thing like this, a management game. make it to where, you know, you have the whole thing revealed. It doesn't show you where the factions are exactly. That's the part of the fog of war, but you have the map, you know what you can do to explore. You can kind of plan out what you're doing. It makes a lot of sense. And the resource bars here, geez, oh my geez. If it was my choice, I would make this one resources, I would make this one fuel, and I'd make this one ammunition. And that's all the resources that would be in the game. That's all you... Okay, maybe battery even. Battery power might be something you could put there too, but it's not necessary. This is fantastic, is what this is, I think. This whole idea. Exit strategic mode. Big button like that, like I was talking about, just a big button that says you're in strategic mode, or you're in map mode. Click to exit, you know, or press this button to exit. Just things telling players what they need to do actively. That's what your passive user interface should be, instead of going into build mode and it is just being in a section on the side of your screen. No, it should be, if you press R accidentally and the resource menu pops up, have an R lit up on the screen so you know, okay, that's what's happening to my game. You know? Like in Kerbal Space Program, if you press the R button, it'd show you the RCS is lit up. You know? Active and passive user interface. Just make it more active from the depths, and I think that's what the community is craving, and I think that's what's meant by this message that Ascendancy Roma had given me. I really like this. I really, I find it funny, however, that there's nothing in this little space in between the fleet management and exit strategic mode, so my webcam can fit right in perfectly. But what do you guys think of this? I think this is absolutely perfect. I think regardless of the map we're on, we can absolutely, even on Meter, do real-time strategy mode, turn-based strategy mode, or keep the sandbox strategy mode that we currently have. I think we can do all of that. I think that would be better than focusing on the designer aspects right now, or even adding new blocks to the game. I think gameplay should be an important aspect that's focused on for the remainder of the development cycle until we get to release, because up until now we don't have anything like this. We don't have any structured gameplay that everyone's been craving, because we all know From the Depths has this potential. The reason it's praised so much for its designer and its creativity and its freedom that it's giving everyone is because they say, wow, if you could do this in a strategy game, wait a minute, From the Depths is a strategy game. Then you go into the strategy game and you're like, fucking, what are those? You know, it doesn't feel right. And I think things like this, little suggestions like this, would make it feel right. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. Nick is in my Discord now, so if you want to bother him, Nick is the creator of the game. He's very open to suggestions and opinions now, so just knock on the door a little bit. Links in the description for the Discord, by the way. It always is, every video.
Why? Why?